And now, live in studio, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes.
Yes, here we are again another day, committed to picking a fight with the mainstream media and providing you the timely truth centered around real estate, credit, finance, estate plans, tax plans, and so much more. You're listening to the Consumer Quarterback Show. Our number one goals are to educate, entertain, enlighten, and most importantly, we want to engage with you to help you win.
The only thing I'm addicted to right now is winning.
Save our hotline number in your phone. At some point, you're going to need it. 813-670-7372.
You used to call me on my cell phone.
813-670-7372.
Here's my number, so call me maybe.
And bookmark our website, consumerqb.com. A plethora of information available for you at consumerqb.com. I implore you to check out our site, look at our expert contributors there, hit the contact form, submit an email that comes directly through to myself and my team. Any questions you have, we'd love to help you with whatever you're facing out there. A lot of commission-based advice that's so prevalent in our community. We're going to help you avoid that. We're going to help you win in any marketplace. That's our goal of our show. And it's Intelligent Talk Radio. I've got some intelligent folks here in studio with me today. Eunice Halstead back in the house, insurance risk specialist. Welcome back in.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Happy to be here.
Yeah, what do you want to talk about today?
Today, since the person joining me is also talking about the same subject, I wanted to talk about workers' compensation.
All right, workers' comp. We're going to dive deep into workers' comp today. And attorney Jason Kobal back in the house as well, workers' comp attorney, personal injury law as well. Welcome in.
Yes, thank you very much, Brandon.
My pleasure.
Since the last time I've been here, we've got the Warriors are champions of the NBA. We made peace with North Korea. A lot of stuff's been going on.
Yeah.
Glad to be back.
Is it all good? Is it
so
all
far.
Yeah, it seems like it, right?
Yep.
We'll see. So helping people with workers' comp, consumer debt, and everything. So good stuff here. Great lineup for you. As you know, I'm the owner of Platinum MVP Realty and a top listing agent here in Tampa Bay. I want to let you know about a couple of hot listings I just listed last week. I've got a beautiful property here, 1370 Gulf Boulevard. This is a beachfront condo. If you ever wanted to live directly on the beach, I've got a beautiful property for you. Unit 401 at 1370 Gulf Boulevard. Take the south elevator up, and it's a beautiful property here. 3 bedrooms, 3 bath, condo. $1.175 million listing from Platinum MVP Realty. And another beautiful listing in Northeast St. Petersburg, a $1.4 million listing is 215 12th Avenue Northeast. This is a gorgeous property. 4 bedrooms, 5 bath, $1.4 million. And it's almost completed. This is that pre-construction SIPS panel home that we've been talking about for a little while here. It's almost completed, 3,752 square feet. Great opportunity to purchase here in gorgeous Tampa Bay. Great place to live, work, and play.
Sun is shining, the weather is sweet.
And just a few days left until this event. We've got our business partner, Ken Shamrock, Hall of Famer in the UFC, WWF legend, wrestling legend, Ken Shamrock keynote benefiting the Ian Beckles Foundation at Red Door number 5 coming up on Thursday, the 21st, 4:30 to 9 p.m. Meet and greet opportunity, live radio broadcast with our show partners as well as Shamrock. Ian Beckles going to be in the house, 1910 North Florida Avenue. $20 ticket gets you in the door. You get cash bar. You get 1 ticket, drink ticket there. You get catered food by Amici's Catered Cuisine, only the finest, and benefiting the children of Tampa Bay through the Ian Beckles Foundation. So a portion of the proceeds are going to benefit the children of Tampa Bay, and who knows where that money is going to go, maybe to Children's Cancer Center, some type of an organization or group that's going to be gifted a good amount of money from this benefit that is raising money. Ken Shamrock coming into town. Check us out on the 21st. It's going to be a great time, and we have our feel-good story of the week. Pitbull saves baby from fire, and it's actually a dog, not the artist. So, Pitbull. So, we'll give a shout out to Brio Tuscan Grill here, our restaurant partner at the International Plaza. Brio Tuscan Grill. You can also have on the weekends, they've got brunches going on at Brio, Saturday and Sunday. Check them out for their brunch. Excellent lineup over there. Now, they're offering a special. All you have to do is mention the Consumer Quarterback Show when you go in and visit over at Brio, and they're going to hook you up with one of their signature appetizers. We're talking about spicy shrimp and eggplant, beef carpaccio, the spinach and artichoke dip, all types of great appetizers over at our restaurant partner, Brio Tuscan Grill at the International Plaza. Let them know the Real Estate Quarterback sent you. Take them up on that special offer. And let's jump right into it. We've got our A-team here in studio. Let's start with attorney Jason Kobal. So workers' comp insurance, personal injury, consumer debt. What I like about when you come on the show, Jason, is you bring information, you bring, updates from Tallahassee. Last time we talked about some of the changes that just happened up in Tallahassee. What's new in your space? What are you seeing?
Well, the law is always evolving and changing. I was interviewing someone just past weekend. Still had a job, work during the week, so I had to meet with them on the weekend, injured at work. And one thing that people don't realize, he's like, well, what's the other side going to say when we sue them? Mm-hmm. When you get hurt on the job in the state of Florida, you get thrown into the workers' comp system, whether you like it or not. So I'm not suing anybody. I'm merely an injured worker's representative in a system that by law, they have no choice but to be in. And my job is just to get every benefit they're entitled to under the law. So even though the case, if you look at a case that I file, say the injured worker's the claimant versus the employer carrier, it's not a civil lawsuit. Like, for example, the other areas of law I do, like a slip and fall or motor vehicle accident. So workers' comp, everyone who works should be aware of, because you never know when it could happen to you. Right. And if it does happen to you, always get an attorney, especially if it's a serious injury.
Yeah, and there's time perspectives in there as well with certain, auto accidents. You get into an auto accident, it's a 14-day rule. Yep. Is that right?
Correct. Yeah. If you want to get $10,000 in PIP, you have to see an MD who needs to confirm your injuries within 14 days of the accident. Otherwise, you only get $2,500. And PIP is the personal injury protection. That's the first $10,000 in coverage for medical benefits and lost wages. And even in workers' compensation, if you get injured, you get an accident, you feel you're injured, you have 30 days to report that. You have a little bit longer for a repetitive trauma or an exposure type case, but for a regular case, it's 30 days. Report it to your employer. Now, they don't always do what they're supposed to, but as long as you report it to your employer within 30 days, you did what you had to do, and then come see me, and I'll take care of the rest.
Right. Yeah, reaching out to Jason Kobal, attorney Jason Kobal here, our legal analyst. The changes in Tallahassee, we talked recently about some of the school shootings and the different types of changes. Can you refresh my memory on that one? What was that one again?
Absolutely. There was a very big change. I was very happy about it, actually. With the school shootings, and it's not funny, but it was actually started before the Parkland situation. And then after that happened, man, things moved really fast and everything got approved real quickly. But what it was is previous to this change, if you had a psych injury, like say PTSD was your claim, you couldn't have a claim unless there was a corresponding physical injury.
Right.
So if you take, say, like an EMS worker who goes to Parkland or to an active shooting situation, sees horrific things, but never has a physical injury, they're going to have PTSD. But if they didn't have a physical injury, under the law, they got nothing for workers' comp. So that's been changed now to where you can get a claim for PTSD or a mental injury without a physical injury if you're one of the qualifying employees, like an EMS worker or someone who's responding to that type of emergency.
My question would be, who pays for these scenarios? Like which wallet does it come out of?
Well, it depends on the situation. If it's a regular employer, and then the carrier will usually, if you have 4 more employees, by law you have to have workers' comp insurance, and that's when you would call someone like Eunice to cover your business. And then there's different arrangements. I mean, sometimes some companies have a small premium, and then if someone gets in an accident, they're paying almost dollar for dollar for the care. Where most people are paying a monthly fee, a monthly amount, and then if something happens, the insurance company is covering.
Okay.
So there's different arrangements, but usually it's the insurance company, unless you're dealing with the county or the state, in which case it's the tax.
Well, that might be a good time for us to transition in Eunice here. Yep. So I'm just kind of thinking, okay, PTSD, an EMS worker, for the example, they come up, they see there's a horrible shooting, some type of an accident, whatever it might be. I'm just thinking, is it coming out of taxpayers' dollars? Is it coming out of the insurance company's dollars? If it's on a school, I mean, what are the considerations there? And I'm just kind of understanding, who would be paying, who's picking up the check for that?
Well, workers' compensation is insurance, and an employer puts the money towards that insurance. For example, I in my office have to pay a monthly fee, and I do it through my payroll service. and they collect when they do my payroll, they collect the workers' compensation money out for each of the employees,
Right.
and they put it into this fund, and that's where the money comes out to pay for any of the claims. So
Okay.
it's not taxpayers' dollars when it is by a private carrier.
Right. And if it happens on a school in a public area, is that a different setup or is it still with the insurance?
Well, if it's workers' compensation, we would be talking about your teachers, the principal, the people that work there, maybe the maintenance workers and whatnot. The children would not be covered under a workers' compensation policy.
Right. Yeah, it's interesting. Man, there's a lot of considerations now, especially with the advent, and the implementation of the internet and some of the social bullying, the different places those plays out. But when we come back, I want to stay on this topic. We'll talk more about the insurance side, workers' comp insurance, and things that you need to know as a consumer. How can you stay informed? How can you stay ahead of the curve? We'll talk more about that on the other side of this break. Stay with us here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. We also have our feel good story of the week. A pit bull saves baby from fire here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
This is Warwick Dunn, and you're listening to the Real Estate Quarterback Show hosted by my man, Brandon Rhymes.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com.
Hi, I'm Jerry from Hot Locks Hair Salon. We are conveniently located at 13414 US Highway 19 in Hudson. I've been a local hairstylist in our community for the last 34 years, 7 of which I was an educator. Our passion is the artistry of hair, and Hot Locks is here to help you achieve your perfect image. You can call us at 727-514-9978.
To the Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. Brandon Rhymes here, Consumer Quarterback Show. Former USF football player, played on the inaugural football team at USF, and longtime quarterback on our sports teams, quarterbacking our teams to championships. And now we're quarterbacking introductions to our 80-plus show partners, all the different expert contributors that we have. You can see consumerqb.com. You'll see all of our expert contributors listed on our website at consumerqb.com. And quarterbacking transactions for our sellers, our buyers, investors out there as well with Platinum MVP Realty. I'm the owner of Platinum and a top listing agent here in Tampa Bay. Got a couple of hot ones I want to let you know about. 103 South Habana Avenue. This is a perfect opportunity for a rental. This is a perfect scenario for an Airbnb. The current owner is actually making a good amount of money on this property. $620,000 just listed. 103 South Habana Avenue, 5 bedrooms, 3 bath, and over 2,464 square feet heated. in the South Tampa Historic District there. Beautiful property, very close proximity to downtown. Great buying opportunity here in Tampa Bay. Also got an airport for sale in Dade City, 20151 Powerline Road in Dade City. This property is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home with 10 acres, and then you've got an additional 15 acres with an actual airport landing strip. So not many more of those being licensed, given out licensing for those anymore. So PlatinumMVPRealty.com. Check out our website, PlatinumMVPRealty.com. All right, back here in studio, we got Eunice Halstead. She's insurance risk specialist. She's the owner and our expert contributor in the insurance space, all things insurance, property, casualty, workers' comp, also auto and home. We'll talk about that. Attorney Jason Kobal in the house as well, workers' comp, personal injury law, consumer debt. So let's go back to Eunice now. Let's pick it up where we were kind of leaving off there. So what are the considerations that business owners need to have, especially, you've got personal lines, you've got business lines, and maybe we'll give a highlight of different types of considerations that people should have. Because I think so many times people just say, oh, well, what's the rate? Same thing with the mortgage industry or the insurance or real estate, what's your percentage? People will say. But there's so much more to it in the insurance space specifically because there's different riders, there are different coverages, different, the premium policy is going to be affected by these different choices.
Well, in the case of workers' compensation insurance, there's the NCCI, which is a regulatory authority that actually promulgates the rates that each business is going to pay based on their particular experience.
Okay.
So this is very much experience-based.
Okay.
So if you have a company and you've had a whole bunch of losses, all that information gets sent to the NCCI, and they calculate what rate you're going to pay for the next year. So really, it gives the business owner incentive to maintain a good safety program,
right,
and to make sure that everybody's doing the right thing so that their workers' comp rate doesn't go up. Now, I wanted to talk a little bit about the medical benefits that every employee is entitled to
Yep.
when they have a workers' comp claim. And they have to go to the doctor that is selected by their employer or the insurance company. They cannot go to their own doctor. That is one big problem. That's one way to keep the rates down. So they have the right to have all authorized medically necessary care and treatment, including doctor's visits, hospitalization, physical therapy, laboratory tests, and anything that they need, including mileage reimbursement for their cars and transportation when they go to these appointments. The death benefit is $150,000 and $7,500 for funeral expenses. So, and if they have loss of wages, the maximum loss of wages per month, I believe, is $917. Is it per month or per week?
No, per week.
Per week.
917.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's interesting, when you look at that, it's the medical benefits. So one of the problem areas you're saying from a legislative standpoint would be the doctors have to be selected by the insurance company. Is that an issue? Do you see potentially with the industry? I'm just thinking competition wise.
It is for
right?
my line of work.
Yeah.
It drives me crazy, but that's the way it is.
Right.
I mean, and I have clients that go to doctors that are authorized through comp, and then they see the same doctor on their own, and
right,
they get different opinions. So
that's
it's a
right.
little frustrating.
That's right. We talked about that last time a little bit, I think.
But anyway, I didn't mean to interfere.
Yeah.
No, that's I appreciate your comment.
Yeah. And that's what it's about, kind of open dialogue here with the show. We want to help our listeners out there understand, considerations that they might not even be considering. And so it's interesting. You said it was promulgated fees. A lot of these different types of fees are promulgated by the NCCI. What is the NCCI? Is that the governing body?
It is the governing body for workers' compensation.
Okay. Yeah, so that makes sense. So workers' comp. With property casualty, let's kind of switch gears from workers' comp, talk a little bit about property casualty. And that was to my point earlier, is that too many times people just look for that premium number, but they're not taking into account what's actually covered. And when something happens, they're happy they've been paying this smaller premium, but now their coverages are going to be limited. It's often a trade-off. Is that right?
Right. And we see that a lot in automobile insurance, where people just go for the required limit to have a car, which is the PIP and PD.
Yep.
And basically, that does absolutely nothing for them. PIP pays very little for your medical expenses, and it's also, you have to see the doctor that the insurance carrier decides that you must see. Most of the time, they try to disregard any damages that you may have, and I've been through it myself, and it was really a nightmare.
That's personal injury protection.
Yes,
Okay.
That's a no-fault insurance. And the PD that they provide is $10,000. I mean, right now, in the Tampa area, you see so many expensive cars going around,
Yeah.
and so many huge accidents. If you hit a Mercedes, $10,000 doesn't get through their bumper.
Yeah. PD is
Property damage.
property damage. Okay. So $10,000 property damage, and then UM is uninsured motorist.
Yes, that's another coverage that provides coverage for you if whoever you have an accident, if somebody hits you and they don't have insurance. Uninsured or underinsured motorist coverage would pay for your own damages
Right.
under your own policy. So if you have to go to the hospital, or if you have to go to physical therapy, you have further treatment requirements, that would pay for it. If somebody else is negligent and they don't have the money to respond to you.
Yeah.
Like even
I
if they
think
had
that's
the
important.
legal minimum, which is no money for BI, 10,000 PIP, 10,000 property, that's where you need UM. And that's legally allowed. That's the Florida minimums. They could have insurance, but if they have the minimum,
Yeah.
you need UM if they hurt you.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, it's a lot of considerations. I would urge you, as a listener out there, reach out to Eunice Halstead, Insurance Risk Specialist. She's the owner of that company, conveniently located in Tampa by the airport on Hillsborough Avenue. So why don't you do this? If you're wanting to get a review done, why don't you pull out your smartphone, shoot us a text message. Just text the word review to our consumer advocate hotline, 813-670-7372. Just text the word review to 813-670-7372. And what we're going to do is we're going to put you in touch with Eunice and her team and do a review with that. Is that something people would be wise to do, Eunice?
Absolutely. We'd be happy to review the coverages that you currently carry on your automobile, for your home. And if you have a business, we'll go through all your business, do a risk management assessment of what you have and where you may have some gaps, or where you may need additional coverage, or where you may do some things on your own to reduce the loss without having to pay for a premium.
Yeah, there's it, and reminds me of a conversation too we had like last week or the week before. We had another attorney friend of ours, attorney Martins Amudia, with the U.S. Centers for Immigration. He was really beating the drum of the risk that a lot of employers are, especially in certain agriculture or where it's maybe a little bit more prone to migrant workers or folks like that. But if they don't have an I-9, he was just really beating the drum on that they're opening themselves up for potential fines, lawsuits, all types of retribution type scenarios. But yeah, so there's a lot to think of, especially these days. That's why we work, talk about, Patrick Morades with the PEO, firm type of a scenario. You mentioned the payroll company does your benefits, but there's so many laws and things, and if you miss one thing as an employer, boy, they're going to come after you.
Absolutely.
And you're in trouble.
Yeah. They could take your business, they could take your home, they could take your assets.
Yeah. Yes.
You could lose everything that you've worked so hard to achieve.
That's right. So it's time to be diligent. It's time to sit down. And these are free reviews. You're going to be able to sit down with them, go over what's in the policy. I know with homeowners insurance, it gets confusing for people sometimes because if wind causes the event versus water rising, so you're talking about a wind event versus a flood event. There's different things to think about when it comes to that as well.
Yes. And I'm very happy to go through every single one of those issues with you and explain how each one would affect your policy and how each one would pay out. Because remember that the homeowner's policy does not cover flood. So you would have to either include it by endorsement or buy a separate flood policy.
Yeah. And then if you're renting, you don't have, a lot of times you don't have any kind of coverage for your contents for the walls in, an HO6, I think it's called,
right.
for if you're a renter's policy, or even if you're in a condominium, you want to have that policy to cover your contents, your electronics, your valuables, your jewelries, furniture.
Yeah, and renters policies are really inexpensive. So if you're renting and you're not covered, you really need to think about it twice because they're really inexpensive.
Excellent. ConsumerQB.com. All of our expert contributors are listed there at ConsumerQB.com. You can find all their contact information. Submit an email form. It'll come directly through to myself and my team. We'll make sure we get you in contact with the right professional, and I implore you to do that and just think a layer deeper. Be a little bit smarter as you go on and set those goals, reach those goals, and we're going to help keep you informed here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. So stay with us. More from our expert contributors here in studio, Eunice Halstead, attorney Jason Kobal, our legal analyst, and we have Pitbull saves a baby from fire when we come back. Stay with us. Short break.
Hey, this is Grant Cardone, and you're listening to Consumer Quarterback Show, hosted by my friend Brandon Rhymes. Do not touch that dial. I'll come right through the radio and grab your throat.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com.
Hi, my name is Joe Stalteri. I'm one of the owners of Complete Care Systems. At Complete Care Systems, we do carpet cleaning, upholstery cleaning, tile and grout cleaning, tile and grout sealing, wood floor and laminate floor deep cleaning, as well as stripping and waxing of linoleum and vinyl floors, and a whole lot more. We also run daily deals and special, which you can find at CompleteCareSystems.com, or simply call Tricia up at 727-364-5158, and she'll answer all your questions and give you over the phone free estimates. Or she'll send me out to your home or office to give you an on-site free estimate. At Complete Care Systems, we don't cut corners, we clean them.
Hi, I'm Jerry from Hot Locks Hair Salon. We are conveniently located at 13414 US Highway 19 in Hudson. I've been a local hairstylist in our community for the last 34 years, 7 of which I was an educator. Our passion is the artistry of hair, and Hot Locks is here to help you achieve your perfect image. You can call us at 727-514-9978.
Listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, online at consumerqb.com. Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-670-7372.
And we're back. Brandon Rhymes here, the Consumer Quarterback Show, helping you win in any marketplace. Giving a shout out to Mary Maids. Our official cleaning partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show is Mary Maids Cleaning Service. They do a great job cleaning our real estate properties. Satisfaction is guaranteed by Mary Maids. Relax, it's done. And they are the recipients of the Women's Choice Award. America's most recommended cleaning services is Mary Maids. Check them out. Let them know the Real Estate Quarterback sent you. We'd love to hear what you think of Mary Maids, our official cleaning partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show. A couple of hot listings here, compliments of Platinum MVP Realty. We've got a hot property in South Tampa, 3911 West Euclid Avenue in South Tampa. Tampa Plant District. This is the high school that a lot of people want to be in South Tampa. Plant High School District, $800,000, $842,000 property. Beautiful home, over 5,400 square feet total, and it's a great buying opportunity here in beautiful South Tampa. Beautiful property taking you over toward the beaches here. 145th is the address here, the street in Largo, 145th in Largo. Beautiful property close to the beach, not a flood zone, but you're right across the street from the beach. You'll drive about a 5-minute drive to the west, and you are in the best area of the United States to go enjoy some sunshine.
Somewhere sunny and 75.
All right, so in studio today, we've got Eunice Halstead. She's the owner of Insurance Risk Specialist, and she's our insurance expert contributor here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Attorney Jason Kobal as well. He's our legal analyst and talking about workers' comp, personal injury law, consumer debt. So, Jason, back to you. Personal injury law. What are you seeing in that space? You know, I think about slip and falls. I think about car accidents, different types of, we've even talked in the show about, nightclubs where fights happen in the parking lot and there's no security to break them up, and, all types of scenarios that play out in the real world.
Right. I actually, recently I got a very serious case, and I won't mention names or anything, but it was a kid. He was just leaving worked the night shift, got hit by a school bus.
Whoa.
As a pedestrian crossing. Very horrific accident, but being that it's a school bus, that's sovereign immunity. Anytime that you're going after municipality, yeah, you're capped.
Wow.
So it's a miracle that he actually lived, but still lots of damages, multiple fractures, and the limit for sovereign immunity is $200,000. So it really makes it. You're going to get the max because the damages far exceed the most you can possibly get, but it's a bad situation to be in because,
How was he looking down at his phone? I mean, was he at fault or was the school bus
the
driver?
driver actually ran a red light.
Oh, man.
Not to get into too many details, but
that's crazy.
And it's,
yeah,
talking to my client about it was just, I can't imagine,
$200,000 for the rest of your life if you're
it's not enough
damaged. If you're not whole, that's wow.
It's awful. But you do your best, the best you can to get the medical bills practically dropped completely, and they'll reduce. They understand. You explain the situation, but definitely a horrible situation, and it goes to show it's really not so much the type of injury or the damage is more so about how much insurance is there on each particular case.
Right. So let's bring Eunice back into that as well. So when you think about these coverages that some maybe municipalities or maybe even private business owners they'll have at their locations, but are you seeing what are the limits on some of those policies, or what are you seeing in that space?
Well, you should always at least have $1 million worth of coverage, and it is always recommendable to have an umbrella policy in case you have a large accident or a negligent act that exceeds the. If you go to court and they award more than $1 million, then you may have a problem if you don't have an umbrella policy.
Right. So the umbrella policy is what exactly?
It sits on top of your general liability and your automobile policy, or any, including if you have a watercraft, it would sit on top of your watercraft, or if you have an aircraft, it would sit on top of your aircraft policy. So all those limits would pay first, and the umbrella would go above any damage that would be over the maximum limit that those coverage would have.
Is that kind of like, on a different note here with the E&O policy, so errors and omissions for a real estate or insurance company, some type of a professional company, that maybe they overlooked a certain form they were supposed to have in a file?
That's professional liability. That's separate category. The directors and officers or the errors and omissions policies are usually handled separately. They're not your mainstream because they're specialized for, like, for example, lawyers would have a professional liability policy. I, as an insurance professional, need, and I'm licensed, have a professional liability policy.
Yep.
Umbrellas do sometimes cover over professional liability policies also, but you have to make sure that the carrier that you have the umbrella with actually will cover above that type of policy.
Right. Yeah, so it's important to consider. These are considerations that you need to think about. You got to think that layer deeper, and make sure your policies are updated. We talked about that review opportunity that we have as well. All right, so let's switch gears. So we talked a little personal injury. Let's talk about consumer debt. We know that Americans, I think it was something like 5 or 6 years ago, we went from having at least a positive, back couple generations ago, it used to be about a 10% savings rate in America. And then I remember it was, just several years back, we actually went into the negative savings. So we talk about student loan debt, record amounts of student loan debt out there, trillions of dollars of debt. We talk about consumer debt, mortgage debt. We know that people are in debt in America. So with the consumer debt space, what are you seeing playing out there? What are the considerations?
It's funny. I actually got into that through my workers' comp business, because in workers' comp, you're not allowed to bill the injured worker. And it was happening to my clients all the time. And a case came out in comp court that says I don't have standing to bring it in comp court when one of my clients gets a bill. I'm like, well, what the heck's going on here? So I discovered the the Florida Consumer Collections Practices Act is the state statute, and then the Fair Debt Collections Practices Act is the federal statute.
Okay.
For if someone bills you and it's an illegitimate bill, and I sue the providers that bill my clients with that statute. And then also I learned the FCRA, the Fair Credit Reporting Act, that as far as on your credit reports, your credit rating is so important to everything. You're applying for a job, buying a house, whatever it is.
Yeah, a lot of things.
They have to be 100% correct, and most of them aren't. I would say maybe 60% of the credit reports I look at has a mistake that I could actually take action on and file suit.
Yeah.
So that's what I've been doing.
Yeah. I remember one of the credit experts we had on the show several years ago, he made a claim that 100% of credit reports out there, he can find at least one thing wrong.
I believe that. I believe that.
I mean,
I was being generous saying 60%.
Yeah,
but I believe that.
Yeah, but it's when you think about it, because
agree.
there's so many people like playing that game of buying credit card debt, selling it to the next guy. The next guy doesn't verify; he just starts trying to collect on it, hooking them up to the auto dialers. Boom.
And I'll be honest with you, I've even had success getting things that are valid taken off credit reports, because you are entitled to. A lot of people don't realize this. You could force them to prove that they are the owner of that debt, and they have to do it within 30 days. And if they don't, that's a violation of your rights.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's just not enough time to respond, and they don't get it done even when it is valid. So there's a lot of little nuggets there for people.
Called a validation of debt, I believe,
Correct.
right?
Yep.
So they got to file that validation of debt, verification of debt, and if they don't, they legally have to remove it.
Yeah, and they violated your rights under the FCRA, and you give me a call.
Wow, there you go. So those are things to consider. Those are things to look for in the consumer debt space, and there's a lot of consumer debt out there.
So one interesting thing, I'm sure most people don't request their credit reports and read through all of them to see. Many times the addresses in the past are incorrect or jumbled or whatever. One issue I had a while ago was that when you intercommingle funds with somebody else, like my ex-husband, they continue to appear on your credit report. And when he got remarried and they bought another house, it started appearing on my credit report. So that kind of thing you need to take action on, because if they stop paying their mortgage, it may affect you.
And that can hurt.
Come on, man.
That can hurt right there. You get those situations that come in. So and that's a big part of it, I think, especially.
Perfect example right there.
Yeah, you've got a society where over 50% of the divorces or the marriages fail, and they wind up being divorced. So there's a lot of room for error there as well when it comes to credit. We got the credit magician William Crowley on our team as well. ConsumerQB.com. You can reach out to William as well from ConsumerQB.com, and he'll help you clean up some of the credit. But that's such a big space, and that's one of the areas when I get into starting to think about what's going to happen next, and where's the economy going? And man, we're on this bull run, enormous bull run here. I think it's the longest bull run we've ever had, isn't it?
Amazing.
I mean, it's a long run. So stock market's booming, real estate's booming, everything. The economy's rocking. Unemployment's the lowest it's been in a long time, and what's going to slow us down? I start thinking about debt. I start thinking about the student loan debt. I start thinking about the trends of buying online. We beat up on Amazon a little bit yesterday's show. So many people are so accustomed just to buying online and pulling out the smartphone, buying on these apps, but they don't realize that for every job that Amazon creates, they actually delete 4 to 5 other jobs from small business sector and different sectors. But wow, where do you see things going?
Well, I don't know. I'm not an expert outside my legal area of expertise, but I know that when the ball goes up, it's going to come down.
That's
eventually.
right. Yeah, something's going to slow down. It's going to reset. Yeah, it's going to reset. So that's again all important reason to get those reviews done. Find out how your insurance is. Where you're holding your monies. Find out from your so-called wealth advisor out there. And I say it that way because a lot of them aren't fiduciaries. They don't have a legal obligation to do better for you than they do themselves when it comes to investments. So these are things you want to consider. These are things you want to think about. So on the other side of this break, we're going to talk about our feel-good story of the week. We've got Pitbull to drag baby out of a house by her diaper during a fire. This is going to be a good one. So I've got Bray Lynn going to be helping us out with that, and more from our expert contributors here as we close out the show. Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
Hey, this is Jarek Robbins. You are listening to the Consumer Quarterback Show with Brandon Rhymes. Please do what it takes to learn all that you have to live the life you want to live it fully, and find a way to give it by paying it forward to others.
Get in touch with Brandon online at consumerqb.com.
Hi, I'm Jerry from Hot Locks Hair Salon. We are conveniently located at 13414 US Highway 19 in Hudson. I've been a local hairstylist in our community for the last 34 years, 7 of which I was an educator. Our passion is the artistry of hair, and Hot Locks is here to help you achieve your perfect image. You can call us at 727-514-9978.
To the Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. Brandon Rhymes here, your host of the Consumer Quarterback Show, helping you win in any marketplace. Looking for sellers out there. We have a low inventory market right now in the real estate space, so we're looking for sellers. If you're thinking about selling, we would love to talk to you. Any of your real estate, vacant land, commercial listings, residential listings, we help our sellers maximize the exposure and have a very unique strategy that we're actually licensing nationwide right now. So we'd love to talk to you. Powered by PlatinumMVPRealty.com. Check out PlatinumMVPRealty.com for all of our real estate listings, and looking for a few agents as well to join our team. So we've got Eunice Halstead, our insurance expert. She's the owner of Insurance Risk Specialist here in studio with us as well. And we have attorney Jason Kobal as well. Workers' comp, personal injury law, consumer debt. We covered a lot of territory today here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. So more from our expert contributors coming up. Right now we're going to do our positivity injection for you in our Tell Me Something Good.
Tell me something good.
A pit bull is credited with saving lives of a woman and her infant daughter after their home in Stockton, California, caught fire. Nana said that her dog Sasha kept barking and even threw her weight into the back door to alert her that the house was on fire. I open it and she runs and starts barking at me like crazy, and I was like, okay, this is weird. This is not like her, Nana said. She
finally noticed
her cousin's home next door was up in flames. She rushed inside to get the 7-month-old baby. When she saw the dog had already had the baby by the diaper and was trying to drag the child to safety. She had already had my baby by the diaper and was dragging her off her bed, she told Fox 40.
Yep.
I was like, oh my gosh, what are you doing? Firefighters responded within minutes of the 911 call, and though the flames only reached her attic, Nana's home is now uninhabitable. Her cousin was not home at the time of the fire. I owe Sasha my life and my children's, Nana said. She saved us all. She is our hero. Without her, we probably would have never made it out. Both our homes were condemned by fire.
Wow, pretty cool story.
That's great. Great to hear. A positive pit bull.
Yeah, positive pit bull story.
Yeah,
exactly.
Usually the other way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it really is. So, great story there in our Feel Good Story of the Week. We want to tell you something positive every day on our Feel Good segment here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. All right, so let's jump back into it. Eunice Halstead, attorney Jason Kobal here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. So what other considerations have we missed here? I mean, we covered a lot of ground. We talked about workers' comp, personal injury law, consumer debt. Is there anything that comes to mind that we should cover here?
You know what? Real quick, I wanted to mention something.
Yep.
Slip and falls you mentioned.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't realize for a slip and fall or trip and fall, there's a notice element. For example, if you're in a grocery store and the person directly in front of you spills shampoo, and the next second later you slip and fall, there's no case.
Right.
But if, say, there was something spoiled on the ground or whatever that was there for 30 minutes and it's obvious that they should have cleaned it up, and then you slipped and fell, that's what notice is. Was the dangerous floor or whatever you slipped on, was it there long enough to where the owner should have cleaned it up?
Yeah, they were negligent.
Exactly.
Right?
So
were they negligent in that claim?
When there's no notice, you don't have a case, no matter how horrific the accident is, no matter how much you got hurt when you slipped and fell. So notice is key.
Yeah, I had a friend that they owned a big cleaning company, cleaning a lot of the big buildings and the elevators and the night crews, and so they said they caught one person trying to do a fake one. They try to do a fake claim all the time, trying to fake claim people.
I actually I had a situation like that long time ago, and I told my client that the surveillance came out, somebody dropped something, 15 seconds later the guy fell. I said, well, next time you do it, you might want to wait a little longer than 15 seconds.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, people are money hungry. The litigious society we live in, people look for reasons why, and I think sometimes, if there's a gray area, sometimes the attorney's going to say, yeah, let's go after it, let's get it, because they're in sales. They're in sales too.
Yeah, but not that one.
Not that one. Yeah, but I'm thinking of different scenarios, of the way it plays out. Let's face it.
It's not always black and white. There's usually some gray that you could argue.
Yeah, and
but as a collective situation, everybody has to keep in mind that it's those claims that make our premiums go up.
Good point. Great point.
They ruin it for everybody.
Yeah.
So if you have any insider knowledge of somebody that's done something like that, I mean, what is there a whistleblower line?
Absolutely.
Hotline?
That's insurance fraud is very serious. It's a federal offense.
Yeah, big time. I remember, watching some of those documentaries on American Greed and some of those shows, with the people with the pill mills, and just, man. And of course, a lot of it originates in Miami-Dade County.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Miami-Dade County. I remember they were one of the leading areas in first payment defaults in the country when it comes to mortgage, new mortgages. They write a new mortgage, got a straw buyer, which means a fake buyer. Now, that first payment default, think about the fraud involved with this, that line of industry. And you're exactly right. That's going to trickle down and cost all of us money. So if you happen to see somebody or hear that scenario playing out, you want to reach out and let people know about it because that's wrong.
And there's usually protection for whistleblowers.
Okay, good point. Yeah.
And check your medical bills out too, because I see a lot of medical fraud lately, billing fraud.
Yes. Yeah, I think I see corporate. I just see stuff show up on some of my bank statements. Even it's like, wow, what is this company? Did I spend this money? And then you Google the number, or they give you a phone number on the statement, and then this phone number on the statement says, oh, we'll go to this website.
Yeah,
it's like crazy. I can't talk to anybody about it.
Yep.
What is the charge? And I think corporate skimming's out there, so you have to look for, did you really charge this? What was the fee? And then you look for those residuals too. A lot of companies will sign you up for something, just keep you going. They'll just keep hitting your card.
Yep.
And with regards to hospitals, it's really scary and it's really sad for people who don't have health insurance. That's why it's important to have health insurance as well. That a few months ago I was in the hospital with pneumonia.
Yeah, I remember
and for whatever reason, the hospital at first didn't take my insurance information, so they billed me $142,000.
Wow.
And as soon as I got them the insurance information, that amount came down to around $6,000.
Wow.
So if I had not had insurance, they would be after me for $142,000.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Basically forces people into bankruptcy.
Yes.
Bankruptcy protection, you can't rebound from a hit like that. Most people can't. And that's a big consideration. Let's jump into our lightning round.
The lightning round!
I am so good at lightning rounds.
I majored in lightning round.
All right, lightning round. Top tips, nuggets of advice, words of wisdom. Jason Kobal.
If you're on workers' comp and your doctor says you could work within restrictions, light duty, and your employer offers you a job, you have to try it, even if you feel like you can't work. Because if you don't, you're going to lose your job, you're going to lose your lost wages. You'll still be able to get medical care, but it's a disaster and it's a trap. So if your doctor says you could work, you have to try.
Got it. Great point. So get out there, minimum light duties, whatever you can do, at least try. And if you can't keep up physically, then that's when you have potential repercussions or you continue with the file.
Don't voluntarily limit your income.
There you go.
Try.
There you go. Eunice Halstead.
On that same note, I'm going to say that if you absolutely cannot work, they cannot fire you. It is illegal for an employer to terminate your employment because you're injured. You got injured on the job. Also, if you are trying to do the minimum, like he just mentioned, try to do any type of work that you can do, and the employer just doesn't want to do it because they want to have somebody do the work that you used to do, they cannot lay you off either.
Okay.
So you have that kind of protection.
Yeah, that's important. And here's something people would say, or maybe a counter to that isn't Florida a no-fault state? You can be
right to work state.
It's a right to work state, so you can be fired for almost anything. But specifically to this conversation, we're talking about if you're injured on the job. Is the preclusion to that?
Yeah, it's called retaliatory discharge case. So if your employer fires you because you filed workers' comp, but it's difficult to prove. But Wenzel Fenton and Kobal is a great firm in town that specializes. That's who I send those cases to. But retaliatory discharge. Otherwise, it's an at-will state, and they can fire you for any reason they want.
Yeah, that's important to know. So good stuff today. We covered a lot of areas here. We're talking about insurance. We're talking about workers' comp, personal injury law, consumer debt. A huge area of our economy is based on consumer debt and the collection practices of that debt. Great stuff. I want to thank Eunice Halstead Halstead, thank you for coming in. Insurance risk specialist. Remember, she had an offer for a review there. If you want to get your review done, that's an important part of being a business owner or homeowner or even a renter. You want to get those policies reviewed. Attorney Jason Kobal as well, our legal analyst, talking about workers' comp, personal injury law, consumer debt, lots of ways that he can be a resource for you. ConsumerQB.com. We got a lot of information available for you there. You can contact him directly. Their cell phone numbers are on the website, their email addresses, their websites, or you can come through us and we'll make sure we personally, get you in touch with our expert contributors. So we want to thank all of our listeners, our viewers out there, our TV show. We got our event coming up on Thursday, the 21st. Ken Shamrock keynote. It's going to be a great time. Lots of great networking over at Fire Station number 5, aka Red Door number 5. It's going to be a great event, 4:30. Come out and check us out. Tickets are available on Eventbrite. They're going quickly. There's some left there. And also, please consider committing a random act of kindness, something as simple as packing up some leftover food or clothing. Carry it with you to and from your commute. Hand it to that person that you see in need, and be a force for good in the community. Do something kind for one another. Let's make a positive change in the world, and we'll see you next time right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, ConsumerQB.com.
You've been listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. Whether it's real estate, consumer, or financial advice, let Brandon call your next play. Contact Brandon Rhymes at 813-670-7372. That's 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com. And join us next time for the Consumer Quarterback Show, weekday afternoons at 5 on AM 1380. The Biz.
Are you a real estate agent looking to take your business to the next level and supercharge your marketing? Hi, I'm Brandon Rhymes, owner of Platinum MVP Realty and host of the Real Estate Quarterback Show, syndicated radio and TV show talk program on iHeartRadio, 102.5 The Bone, daily 5 o'clock drive time on 1380 The Biz, and our TV show is on WeBeam TV. We're looking for real estate agents that want to join our team and supercharge their marketing, utilizing some of our innovative strategies. We utilize the Real Geeks platform, Facebook marketing, internet marketing, and a lot of the traditional methods as well. Postcard mailers mailed for you.
And so often they suffer in ways that we as adults can't even imagine.
Today we're going to do something about that
real estate
together.
Splits and ways
With your
to help
gift,
you win.
you can
in
help
any
mothers
marketplace.
like Weirus
We need
and
you to
others
go out,
like
take
her around the
applications,
world
and work
whose
our
children are
plethora of
suffering
leads
from
that we're
preventable
generating on a daily
diseases.
basis.
Because
Reach
right
out by
now,
clicking
your
the form
$60
below, and we'd
gift
love
to
to have a
save the
confidential
children
interview with
doubles
you.
thanks to a generous private donor, transforming your $60 into $120. Call right now, 888-884-4836. That's 888-884-4836.